Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Jakks Pacific World of Nintendo 4-inch line of action figures Wendy Koopa figure. Yeah, I'm so excited. Let's talk about her. Alright, so here is Wendy O. Koopa from Jakks Pacific World of Nintendo's 4-inch line of action figures. And here's some real quick facts about Wendy. She first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3 from 1998. She's known as Cutie Pie Koopa in the cartoons for some reason, but everywhere else it's Wendy O. Koopa. She's the only female member of the Koopa Kids, and she's named after Wendy O. Williams from the Plasmatics, in keeping with a lot of the music-themed kids of Bowser, which is really cool and kind of makes me appreciate Bowser a lot more, or at least Bowser's. However, is Bowser asexual that he makes his own kids, or did he have like a wife or a partner? Did he adopt these kids? One way or the other, whoever named these kids, either in real life or in the Mario universe, my hat's off to you. So I am so excited to finally have Wendy Koopa in my collection. And I was so nervous when Jakks announced they were going to put her out, because sometimes with this line I've had a little bit of difficulty finding some of the figures. And she was one of my, if not my most wanted figure of this line, because she's one of my favorite characters from the Mario universe. And yeah, so I just happened to walk into a Books A Million, and there she was, like maybe 2 weeks after people started seeing her pop up in different stores. So I was very excited to get her effortlessly, and then to have her in my collection now. I am very happy. So let's go ahead and get into this review of Wendy Koopa. So this figure stands at about just shy of 4 inches tall with the top of her bow. And I know you're not really supposed to talk about a lady's weight, so I'll just say that this figure has an appropriate weight to its size, if that makes any sense. It feels good. Hopefully that's okay. Still sounds weird, but nevertheless, let's move on. Jakks Pacific did a fantastic job making this figure look just like it walked off the screen, and pixels to plastic, you know what I'm saying? And they did a great job. This looks like Wendy Koopa, and I am very pleased with how it looks. The paint is pretty good on mine. Don't have really any complaints there, and I didn't notice that, or I guess I didn't realize how much of a fan I was of the shells on the Koopa Kids, but like for some reason there's some eye candy there for me. Like, I don't know, that sounds like another weird thing to say, but like just the way that they have the shells look on, like in this figure and on the other Koopa Kids too. I don't know, it's something very appealing to me, but nevertheless, they did a fantastic job there too, especially for the price point. And yeah, this looks just like Wendy Koopa. So yeah, you can't go wrong there. However, the one thing that I did find kind of odd, and I don't know that there's really anything they could have done about this, but I discovered it while I was taking photos of this figure, that certain angles she looks great. But if I take like an upward shot at her, which is usually a lot of my default shots, like I like that upward angled shot, something about the lips just makes her look very strange, like proportionately. And my wife has told me that some ladies don't like that angle, and that's kind of like a known thing, that you don't take pictures of ladies, like if someone gives you their camera and is like, hey, can you take a picture, and you don't go upward. And yeah, it's just not very flattering. And that's true of this figure, at least in my experience, and I think it has something to do with the lips. Now, when you like look at the character straight on, and like from any other downward angle, she looks fantastic. And so yeah, so that, I don't know, that might mean nothing to you, that might mean everything to you, who knows? But I think if you just have this figure on the shelf, you're not going to have an issue with this. The other thing that I thought was neat was that the rings are attached to her hands, which are a little strange. So if you're trying to move the hand to just spin it around or whatever you're trying to do with it, the ring also spins. So I don't know how else they could have done it, especially at the price point that these figures are at. But I think they did it to a good effect. It's just a little different than what I was expecting. But then again, I don't know what I was expecting. So yeah, but what's here is still really cool. I did have some issues with getting her to stand, though. She is wearing some high heels. So, you know, I don't have a lot of experience standing in high heels. And I don't have a lot of experience standing action figures in high heels. And I had a lot of trouble getting her to balance. But while I was doing that, I discovered an unfortunate thing that you really couldn't tell, or at least from my experience, I couldn't tell from the box. And I didn't know that I should have probably looked for this. But in trying to get her to stand, I noticed that her tail was a little loose, and I was like, oh, is that just the joint? Like it's just a loose joint? But unfortunately, no. I think it might actually be broke, because when it moves, it doesn't look like the joint is activating. It just looks like the tail is like kind of just loose in there, which isn't a deal breaker for me, because you don't really notice it, and I'm not really using that part of the articulation for anything, or at least I haven't had to so far, but still, it's something to bring to light that you might want to be mindful of. If there's a way to tell that in the box, I have no idea, but still, you know, it's a thing. And then also taking pictures of Wendy for this review, I also noticed a couple of other things. Like, one, she's the only Koopa kid whose head matches their skin tone, which is interesting. And two, what is her headband attached to? Because from what I can tell, she has no hair on her head, with the exception of her eyelashes and eyebrow. But nevertheless, as far as aesthetics and the look of this figure, I think that Jakks Pacific nailed this figure. Looks great. Now, let's talk about the accessories. So she comes with her magic wand. Now, I tried to see if this was the exact wand from Mario 3 that she gets from That World's King. And I don't think that it is, but it's a nice purple wand, and it looks fine, and it's cool. It matches the other ones, the other Koopa kids, and that's really cool. All right, let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Wendy Koopa. Wendy Koopa. Goodness. So, starting with the head, you get a little bit of left and right, but not much, because the shell hinders her from doing that. But she can look up just a little bit, but not really down, because her necklace kind of keeps her from doing that. Plus, like, I think her lips would also keep her from doing that, because they're pretty big. She's got 360 rotation at the shoulder, and then she's got a little bit of a swivel there too, so she can move like that. She's got a swivel at the wrist. Then you got 360 at the leg, and you can also kick out with a little hinge there. You get 360 at the foot, and there's also a hinge there as well at the heel, I guess, or at the ankle. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. And then her tail has some articulation, although it seems like mine may be broken or loose. It just kind of hangs around in there, like it's just, I don't know, it's just doing that. So yeah, well, there's the articulation that you're going to get out of Wendy Koopa. All right, now let's see how she compares to some other figures you might have in your collection. So here she is with her other siblings from Jakks Pacific's World of Nintendo 4-inch line of action figures. And here she is with all of her siblings and her dad, Bowser, from World of Nintendo. Here she is next to Jakks Pacific's World of Nintendo Toad. Here she is with Luigi, Yoshi, and Mario from SH Figuarts. Here she is next to Krita from Masters of the Universe Classics and Leonardo from NECA. Here she is next to SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Agito and SH Figuarts Chun-Li. Here she is next to Princess Zelda from Figma and Kid Icarus from Figma. Here she is next to the Kirby Nindoroid figure and Typhlosion from Jazzwares. So I really don't know where my love for Wendy Koopa stems from. I know that I loved her in Mario 3 and in Super Mario World back when I was a kid, and then in any video game I've seen her in since then, I've either played as her or just really enjoyed her character in said game. And I definitely remember her being in the animated series. I don't really remember much of what she did or if she said anything specific. I just remember her being a boss lady and her having that bow, which, you know, accessory game is on point. So like, I love that stuff. So you got to give props. And I think that like there's something in there that did it for me. I don't know. But nevertheless, I am so very excited to have her on my shelf in my collection. And I think as far as just the look, I think Jakks Pacific nailed it, and she looks fantastic. She looks great on her own, and she looks even better with the other Koopa kids. And I hope that they very quickly get the rest of them, because that's going to be an action figure dream come true for me, to have articulated, well done versions of all of the Koopa kids just on a shelf. I don't know, that's just something in like on my list of things that I would love to see before I die. And so if Jakks Pacific can hurry up and expedite that, that would be really rad. But nevertheless, Wendy Koopa, what they got for us at the price point is really cool. The look is great. The only issues I really had was the upward shots just looking kind of strange with the proportions and stuff, just was weird. But then again, like I said, maybe I'm not supposed to be taking pictures of her like that, and so I don't need to, and I'm not always going to be, so that's not really a big deal breaker. However, the shoes that she's wearing present some issues posing her. So if you're trying to get any dynamic posing out of her, you might run into some issues. See what I'm saying? Issues. That's the joke. Okay, I'll move on. And the tail being broken, I hope that that's not with every one of them, but there's no real way to tell. However, again, like I said earlier, it's not really something that's going to impact what I'm going to be doing with the figure anyway, so it's not that big a deal. So if you're looking for a really good representation of Wendy Koopa to have on your shelf, you can't go wrong with this figure. If you're trying to get all the Koopa kids, you're going to have to get this figure. And if you just need a boss lady to wreak havoc on your Mario shelf, then look no further than Jakks Pacific's Wendy Koopa. Alright, well that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button as well. And let me know in the comments, did you love Wendy? Did you hate her? What was your first experience with her? And do you remember anything that like made you appreciate her for how awesome she is? I want to know in the comments below, so please let me know. And yeah, and if for some reason you want to hear me talk about other turtle-esque characters, you can do that by following me over on Turtle Soup Podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts, where you'll hear my friend and I talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at least once a month. And yeah, so we have a lot of fun over there, so come hang out. And until then, Elsetime.